Hello, and welcome to the Non-Player Character Podcast, a video game podcast with character. I am your host, NPC Paul, and if you want to find the entirety of this episode, you can find it on iTunes or anywhere else you get your podcasts. A like, a rating, and a subscription are always nice. Enjoy. Welcome back, everybody, and it's time for our topic, and our topic is, of course, the Git Good and the Git Good mentality. So, found this article. Katie found this article for us, and it sparked a thought in my brain, and that thought turns now into this topic. It is Git Good, the phrase that gamers have been using since the late aughts, I'm sure, to express their desire for a player, specifically, to acquire skills in a certain game, whether that be a strategy game or a first-person shooter, maybe perhaps a driving game, if you will, or a fighting game. It could be really any kind of game. All right, I'm going to stop that one.
I was expecting just a glass of wine to come up.
And a little cigar.
Right. It is the flip opposite of the GG emote, and it is the
GG is used tongue-in-cheek a lot of the time.
That's true. That's true.
Like,
GG.
It could get
GG, bro.
It can get kind of
GG.
toxic for sure.
Yeah.
I say GG genuinely. So.
Yeah, me too. And you know, it's also the thing, the catalyst that usually will get someone to a F.
You mean pay respects?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Don't you mean
good,
L?
Then you die, then you F.
Yeah. Or X or
Or L?
Whatever.
It's F.
You take the L?
It's F.
No, it is F.
It is F. Anyway,
He's
so
taking the L.
because Sekiro just came out and because Outward just came out, two games that we have been talking about on this podcast a handful of times.
Yes.
Kent and I, who sadly is not here today, I'd love to talk to him about Outward, but I've been playing Outward a little bit, so I have some experience in its difficulty. Dan and Leonard and Kent have all been playing Sekiro, so they're going to be talking about Sekiro, and since Katie brought up the article, Katie is going to be talking about our article, but first I do want to talk about Outward. Outward is that game that 9 people made, roughly. Apparently it's 10, but anyway.
Yeah, 9 or 10.
9 or 10 people.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun. It is a very hardcore simulator. You're not a Dragonborn. You're not the chosen one. You are just a dude with a family debt who needs to fix that and then go outward into the world. Yeah, I said the thing. So it's a really cool concept. And the execution is problematic. I have an issue with it. My main issue comes from a architectural theory. Why I know specifically an architectural theory I won't get into, but that architectural theory is called hostile architecture.
Nerd.
I am a nerd, yes. It is the reason, hostile architecture is the theory that it basically is the reason why park benches have armrests for every person on the park bench. It is also the reason why concrete ledges and railings downstairs have little bumps on them. That is sort of the two sides of the same coin. On one side, it makes sure that punk skater kids don't
5050 grind.
Yeah, 50. It's 50-50, bro.
Oh.
Come on. And break their necks, and they can sue the city, and everything would be bad. And I just realized that if my 15-year-old self heard me say this, he would slap me in the fucking face. But
Such a square.
I'm such a square, man.
So unswell of you.
I'm working for the man now. Anyway.
So not radical.
But on the other side of this architectural theory is the armrest thing. That is the reason why homeless people can't sleep on benches, is because there's armrests physically stopping them from doing it. So, yeah. And Outward is a game that is designed exactly like that. It is hostile architecture in its purest digital form. It kicks you in the balls, not because you're not good at it, but just because it wanted to kick you in the balls a little bit. It doesn't tell you where to go, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, in an open world, you need a compass. You need an arrow pointing you north,
I think you just need to get good, Paul.
telling you where to go. It's got to the point where it is such a difficult game in the first 10 minutes that a lot of people have been turning it off and saying, I don't want to play this anymore. And that is not good for a video game to do. Whether or not you are good at the game doesn't matter if half of your audience is saying, I don't want to put the time into getting good when you're just going to fuck me over and over again.
Maybe the game's just not meant for them.
Maybe not, but maybe you should make your game meant for everybody, or at least as many people as you can.
So I would argue against that point to my last breath.
All right, well, yeah.
Yeah, but it also comes down to your favorite point, which is money. How do you make money off a game that only a few select people might put the time into getting good with?
I mean,
that's the problem.
Don't mistake my point for money being the driving force for everything to what I want. Money is the reality. What I want is not.
I understand, but like the reality is money. Like it's not like the closest comparison that I can come up with is Kingdom Come Deliverance. But Kingdom Come has a learning curve that allows you to learn. Yeah. Like it gives you the tools to learn. It gives you direction.
There is a quest line in the first 25, 30 minutes of Kingdom Come that's like, hey, we're going to practice swords. Let's go practice swords, buddy. And then we practice swords with wooden swords for a little bit. And they're like, hey, if you want to swing this way, this is how you swing.
Yeah.
Not in Outward. Outward is like, here's the world. Fuck you.
And like there is appeal in a game like Outward. But at the same time, as someone who... Like, I have a lot of time, I do. Let's be frank. But it's a lot of time in 2 separate days in 1 week.
To play Destiny.
To play Destiny, obviously. I have to grind all the time. But no, beyond that, like, it's not even a matter of, like, I have other games I'd rather be playing. It's a matter of I only have so much time on my days off between taking care of my dogs, taking care of my social life, taking care of my house. Like, because fucking no one else is. It's fine. They don't listen to the podcast. But I don't want to spend 4 or 5 of those hours getting angry at a game because it is telling me I suck because it wouldn't tell me how to do a thing that it somehow thinks I should already know, which no, that's not my job. That's your job.
Like the one thing that Outward does tell you to do is like, hey, you should probably eat and drink.
Oh, cool. Really?
Like, shit, dude. Yeah. I figured that. You're a survival game. You eat and drink in survival games. You also sleep. Are you going to tell me, yep, next tip is to sleep more often? Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Well, there are the fundamentals.
How to play.
So, to me, I took Outward, and I haven't played it yet. So, I mean, just to be frank on that, it's that I take it as a game that is about discovery. Yeah. It's not a game that's about getting to the end and going through this epic journey that follows just this path line, but more as that it's the ability to learn. And this is why I haven't picked it up, because it's the same issue that I'm gonna have with Sekiro, which I'll mention in a bit, is that the game is supposed to be a sinkhole for time, and that you go in going, I don't know anything, but by the end of your journey you know everything because you've invested the time. It's that level of discovery. It's not about the end, it's about the journey. In a sense. Yeah.
But why would you make the journey so not fun? Why would you make it so unenjoyable for the first few hours of your impression of this game that like most people are just going to turn it off?
Because it's that challenge, and that I think it's not for us, and that's why games like Dark Souls and Sekiro,
So on the point of Outward being a journey, yes, it is 100% meant to be a journey. The problem is, with most journeys, you're able to know how to tie your shoes first. You're able to know how to walk first. You're able to know...
No, we all have to learn those things.
Yes, but...
No, your analogy doesn't work.
Environment with mom holding your hands. Like, yes. I'm sorry. Like, you need some kind of help.
Tutorial. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. You need a tutorial.
I hate tutorials, but I at least want one to tell me what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get the idea, and it's too hands off, in a sense.
Yeah,
and I mean,
because Dark Souls, Bloodborne, all of them, they have a tutorial. That tutorial
also designed by bigger teams.
That's true. That's true. Okay, fine. Yes, all of this has an asterisk next to it because 9 or 10 people designed this game for sure. But Their tutorial is the first boss that you encounter, which is like 3 or 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
And you will die. Unless you're really, really good at the game already, then you won't die. But the point is, it's meant to kill you because you're supposed to fail and you're supposed to get used to this failure. And it's supposed to show you, like, check it out, man. You have a couple of things that you can do, a couple of things you can't do yet. Enjoy.
Yeah. But so my question is the idea that it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be getting better at this, or you're just supposed to learn this? Like, is getting good, are you meaning getting skilled or just getting experienced?
That's actually a really good question. I don't have an answer for that. I mean, I guess it sort of speaks to the broader question of what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Getting good, does that mean that you just need to practice, and do what Katie was suggesting and take your 2 days a week that you have time for and just dedicate them to not playing Destiny and instead playing this game that's going to kick your ass?
That ain't it, Chief.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Or,
no, that's all I was adding.
Or is it something that you learn over time and you can take your, you don't have to take all day to learn it. You can actually understand it over time, over a few 100 hours of many days of playing it.
Yeah. And this leads into what I was going to talk about with Sekiro.
Please.
In that it's the exact issue I kind of have with it. Sekiro is a great game. No one will pretty much tell you it's a bad game.
Right. It's FromSoft. They basically make only good games.
Yeah, but I mean, if we do break it down, and this is my problem with it, and it's the exact same kind of concept. If you understand the fundamental mechanics of Sekiro, generally it's just learn how to parry. Instead of dodging and rolling, all this stuff, it's parry.
Right.
So you don't leave the enemy's face. You stay very close, and that's the idea, is because it's supposed to be you are in danger at all times. You're not able to run out of it.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, it turns into a rock, paper, scissors game in that if somebody sweeps, you jump. If they grab, you dodge. If they attack, you parry.
Right.
And so, okay, rock, okay, here's paper. Scissors, okay, here's rock. And it's not so much that I'm getting better at the game. It's just that every time I get into a fight, I have to learn what are the flags, what are the tells for rock or paper or scissors. And then move to another fight, and it's, again, learning rock. Okay, right. This shoulder movement means paper. And that's the idea. And the funny thing is like, yeah, those terms work because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm getting... go ahead.
Well, no, what I was going to say is that, like, when you told me that, I was trying to think of, well, isn't that just all games? I mean, isn't all games just boils down to rock, paper, scissors? And essentially, yes. But, I was trying to slot something in, say, Civilization. If you are realizing that you are going to be losing close to a culture victory, your science victory is not close enough, that leads to a certain amount of decision-making that you have to make. You have to go to war with that other culture so that you aren't contributing to their victory points. And then you have to, make sure that all your processes... It's a checks and balances that you have to check off a list. Basically, it's a spreadsheet.
It's a convoluted rock paper scissors.
It's a very convoluted rock paper scissors, and the same thing can be said with first person shooters.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some games. I guess games have sort of gotten away with this. Overwatch is sort of the outlier in this, but
kind of. There's tournament play.
Right. But yeah, some guns are good against versus other guns, and other guns are better. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there certainly is that. But then there's also the movement and shooting, the slide jump in Apex.
Yeah.
So
it's more of getting good is about being able to make the right decision at the right time.
Right.
And that is just experience.
Yeah, that's just experience.
And
so what you're saying with Sekiro is a little bit more simplistic.
It's experience, but it is literal experience. It's not that I need to go, okay, my hands know to do this. It's like, okay, you are rock, scissor, paper, rock, scissor,
It's the rhythm game.
It's kind of in that, I mean, granted the attacks can change.
Right.
It's about understanding and flagging.
Yeah.
And I don't have the time to memorize it always because you're playing against an AI thing. It's not rewarding for me to go play DDR again,
Yeah.
But playing an online shooter, whether Apex is about making the right decision, going this way or that way because of this instance or that.
When to shoot, when
yeah,
not to
but
shoot.
we're all making that decision.
Right. That's true. And Sekiro is a single-player game, and it's not like Dark Souls, where you can help other people out or hurt other people or jump into their world.
Dark Souls still suffers from it because it is the roll, dodge, parry, blah, blah, blah.
Right. It's the same thing. And FromSoft has sort of started that whole hard genre, and they sort of realized that it is just rock, paper, scissors, but...
They changed the mechanics with each one. Dark Souls was roll heavy. Bloodborne was very, counter parry or something. Counter heavy, and then this one's parry heavy or something.
Okay.
Yeah, each one has its own mechanic, and there's actually a breakdown on Reddit that talks about this theory.
Right. And I mean, this is the exact reason why this whole topic is about bringing back Armored Core. Wait. Nope. Getting good. Okay.
What is Armored Core?
Oh, come on. It's a PS2 game. It's a giant mech fighter, and you get to customize your mech, and you get to...
When did it come out?
Like 2004 was the last one, maybe 2008.
How old were you then?
I
48.
I see what you're getting at. Armored Core needs to come back.
Okay.
So, yes, this Git Good mentality is an issue.
Yeah.
Because it stifles players getting good. Because if I see somebody in chat say "get good" to me, the last thing I want to do is get good.
Well, I think get good is just it is a way of just kind of harping on people.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of games these days are actually getting people good. Which is actually what I really wanted to originally talk about. Was the idea was aim assist is what it's called.
Yes.
Which is basically the
PC players have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is the aimbot for console gamers.
I am learning that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not as good at sniping as I thought I was.
And
got it.
We've created a generation of gamers who think that they are really good because their hands have been held their whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
There's things that establish to make people better than they are.
Yeah.
And it's luck, it's, variables that just kind of assist you along the way.
Yeah.
And they make the game funner. More fun?
It's more fun.
More fun.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You were a writer, and
and funner was my my tagline the whole time. But it's like that's great because money.
Right.
Money.
Right.
And this is my thing.
Makes the gamers feel good about themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So therefore you appeal to the wider market and you make people happier with the product. But what's the end result for a generation of gamers?
They get to PC and they realize they weren't as good at sniping as they thought they were.
Yeah, but that's
I got my favorite sniper with a really good roll, and I was really bad at it. I had to get good.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing, is when we pander to people to make them feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
When we make games that are like, oh, this is it's okay. It's okay. I'll hold your hand.
Right.
Don't worry.
And
you get comfortable with that. You don't move beyond it because the hand holding never lets go.
And of course, that is a problem. The hand holding needs to be let go. You need to be given complete control over the reins of this wild bronco that you are control. I'm losing the metaphor.
I don't like this.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you're just naming things.
But I think there is a place for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
PC.
No, well, what I mean is the hand-holding thing. There's a place for hand-holding. And I'm not necessarily saying all single-player games, but narrative-driven single-player games, I don't see a problem with having a little bit of hand-holding throughout the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything is in balance. I mean, it's, we can have a little bit of home help, but being homeschooled is a bit, you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
We can have some assistance, but you have to fail. You have to go and experience those things.
Yeah. And that does bring it back to Katie's metaphor about mom holding your hands when you're trying to walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before I get into my portion, I
Right.
did want to say a shout out to a particular YouTuber whose videos really helped me. As someone with an anxiety disorder, I get extremely frustrated extremely quickly when it comes to PvP. Anything to do with PvP. Because I feel like I am so good at PvE, why am I unable to translate that talent into PvP? because I've never picked up a game that I wasn't able to get really good at really quickly. But when it comes to fighting other players, all of a sudden I am trash. And I get clammy and I get like my heart races and it sucks. And all of a sudden I can't remember how to dodge. What's a shadow step? How do you throw grenades?
You are not sweaty enough, Katie.
I'm not sweaty enough, and I don't know how to use a shotgun, as it turns out.
You just slide. That's how you do it.
Yeah, right, right.
Drop
you just
slide. Yeah,
you crouch in the corner, or you just slide. But there is a YouTuber that I like to watch, and over the last couple of months, rewatching his videos has been extremely helpful for me. His name is Cammy Cakes. He is primarily, of course, Destiny 2. He talks more about the enjoyment of the game of PvP, particularly because that's mainly what he does. But he recently put out a couple of games talking about like what is it all really about? Well, it's not about getting good. It's about finding a way to have fun with it. Don't worry about getting good. Worry about enjoying yourself. It is a game. And like he really drove the point home by being like, I may be good to a lot of you, and in my opinion, I'm just an average player, but it's because I'm not worried about getting good. I'm not worried about one-upping everybody around me. And his video was really, really helpful to watch because it was like, yeah, no, if I could find a way to actually just sit down and like enjoy PvP the same way that I can enjoy PvE, I might get a little bit better. I might be able to look at it in a different light. I might be able to go in without feeling like I'm going to weigh everybody down. At the end of this game, they were going to see our scorecard. I'm going to have like 9 kills against the guy at the top with 45. Like, they're going to know I'm garbage and I'm going to be kicked. I will never play Destiny again. Someone will mass report me for being so bad.
You know, I had a similar situation recently with Apex. Like, I was wondering why in Season 0, I was getting kills left and right. And I was doing great. Then when Season 1 hit, and all the sweaties come out of their closets and start playing for realsies, for monies, or whatever, I'm not doing well. I am not doing as well as I used to. I don't know what's going on necessarily.
It's time in the saddle, man.
Right. It is time in the saddle. But one kill, I can't even remember what the guy's name was. It doesn't even matter. One kill really pissed me off, and I was like, this is unacceptable. I worked my ass off to get where I am. I even got 2 kills before this all happened, and you come in, and it seems like you just vaporized everything that I had on me instantaneously. What the hell happened? So I waited, and I spectated, and what I saw on his screen was that he had like 5 health left. He was he looted me real fast, and then he hid. Not 45 seconds later, he got third-partied and wiped. And like, it took me a second to realize it, but like, the reason I feel like I'm failing is because I felt like they were all succeeding. They were all getting first place. They were all winning. As soon as they killed me, that's when they won. No. There's other teams gunning just as hard for them as they did to me. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't about getting good. It was about putting perspective into what I was already accomplishing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not getting good. It's actually getting lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is.
Apex is a handful of...
it's more than a handful of luck, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say for Destiny's PvP, a lot of it has come down to, well, who has the best weapon right now? Who has the best meta?
True.
They have addressed some of it. I do appreciate them for that. Like,
and Apex hasn't addressed anything at all, but that's fine.
Yeah. But, you know, they're doing their best to even out the playing field. I have to give them props to that. But for almost 3 seasons now, we've had the same 2 hand cannons that can map you, and it's horrible.
Right.
But that said, like,
yeah, their range is
it's unacceptable.
Destiny has always had the swinging demographic of
The problem,
yeah.
I mean, as a side note, you can cut this if you want, but just for reference, the two weapons I'm talking about are two hand cannons, Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten.
Oh, and I just mean like when I was playing it.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like, this
but
gun
I
was the
mean, in
greatest,
this
and
instance, it's not like anybody could get that gun. It's not like you have a reliable way to go farm it. It is you have to go into comp. You have to get this many kills. You have to all through comp.
Yeah.
So
the best play.
I remember because there were certain hand cannons that were very much that way. That you were only PvP drops, and you had to play until you got it, and you had to get the right roll, and it was just
Hawkmoon was like that, wasn't it?
Hawkmoon was for a little bit, then
then
when they
became
nerfed
a worldly. Thorn.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's RNG always plays a huge part in any Git Good conversation.
And yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah, and that is going to be a big pet peeve. But one thing that we as gamers probably aren't noticing, or at least not paying attention to as much as we should, is that Git Good can kind of be, I don't want to say triggery, but for a lack of a better term, problematic.
It is supposed to be triggery. It's just the internet trolling in a single term.
Right.
But there does come a point, and this comes from an article called The Physical Glass Ceiling When the Git Good Mentality Turns Ableist. It was written by Holly Green in October of 2017, where she discusses how the Git Good mentality is like, for most people, it's just like get good, like, you idiot, get good, but like joking, like you don't mean it. But for other people, it is serious. Like, being good is their entire identity, and it becomes a matter of like, well, I'm good, so you need to get good. Like, you lost because you're not good, and it becomes like a way to really shove it in your face. So when someone calls out, like, for me, I think Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten were the two biggest mistakes Bungie made for Destiny's PvP. And I say that not from a place of, they should just get rid of it. Like, that's unrealistic. That would piss off way too many people. Yeah. It is, they need to raise the bar, or they need to raise up other weapons, make them more viable against those guns. Like, keep them at their level, but make sure I have a way to fight back.
Right.
That isn't just shotguns and Wardcliffe coil and hope and a prayer. But it does become a point where people often forget, and we as able-bodied gamers often forget, there is a certain demographic of gamers who need those nerfs, as annoying as they can be, not because they want to feel like they can be good, or that they just don't, they're lazy, they don't want to get good, but because accessibility is a real issue. I've heard that the Xbox One, that controller that they made, the adaptive one, is very good, but it has its shortcomings. Yeah. Of course it does, because it can't do all of the same things you could do. So then how do you balance it out so that those players can experience the same games? And even without PvP in mind, let's look at Wolfenstein 2. When you put it on easy mode, which is a fine way to play the game, I think, it mocks you. It makes fun of you. A lot of games do, especially the hardcore ones.
Right.
It makes fun of you. It teases you for doing it without taking into account, like, first of all, you added this mode, so don't you dare patronize me. Second of all, like, if you made it hard enough where someone who maybe can't move as quickly, or maybe has a difficult time, like, comprehending instruction or vision, exactly, like, it's patronizing, and it's condescending, and it's locking out a certain player base who maybe they just don't want to put in that effort, or maybe they can't do those things. Maybe they can't fire. Maybe they need that aim assist, because it's hard to, first of all, with a controller, it will never be as precise as a mouse anyway.
Nope.
So you need that.
No matter how many hoary tech Mark IIs you buy.
I just need like a tighter analog, just something that gives me a little more resistance.
Yeah. That's all. I get it.
But yeah, like there comes a place, or there comes a time where you have to step back and you have to think, like, would it really hurt the quote unquote integrity of the game to add an easier mode, to allow the games to have nerfed options, to make sure that everyone has an equal playing field? And that said, it's
or at least a challenging one.
Yeah, like something so that people who aren't as advantaged or as privileged as us are able to experience and enjoy the same games that we play.
Right. Yeah. And like, I'm not going to equate at all my struggle with any other disabled gamer, for sure.
It's
but
still a valid one, though.
I'm colorblind. as we've made fun of multiple times on this podcast.
I have never.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Anyway, my problem is in Apex, I cannot tell the difference between the blue and the purple level 2 and level 3, respectively, gear. So I have to ping it every single time so that I hear what they say.
I'm
is it
so going to use this to my advantage.
Or level 3. Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of fun. But what's annoying is that is 2 to 3 seconds that
That's added time.
That's added time.
It's hard to get good.
Yeah.
When you have to add a few seconds to your...
and what's even weirder is the colorblind people out there will know. My brain still tries to figure it out. Still tries to say, is that blue or purple? I want to, in my heart of hearts, I want to ignore the color completely and just ping so that I know. But my brain is like, wait a minute, we can figure this out. Don't ping it. Don't ping it.
I got
Don't
this.
ping
I
it.
got this. Yeah.
Okay, ping it. I have no idea. So like it's a problem. And yeah, it's a couple seconds, fine, but it's something.
Yeah, no,
I can't play Metal Gear Solid 3 because the camouflage in that game actually super duper works for me, and it's really messed up. I can't actually see.
That's a really
anything.
good game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I had to watch a Let's Play on YouTube so I could figure out the story going into 4. And yeah,
but I mean, and that's those are issues that they're slowly kind of trying to figure out with
Right.
colorblind modes.
Right.
The problem with other people with other
real quick,
disabilities-
colorblind mode. Just put red, green, blue, green, other. Don't try and use the scientific terminology. Not even the colorblind know those terms. Anyway, continue.
Is I think
Just you.
it's that though. It's figuring out things that help because we have gamers of all different
We do
differentiations. So
And that's
everybody
fantastic.
has different issues that they're going to be handling. So how do you equate for that?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the issue. It's like you can only do so much just to kind of put it.
I mean, there is one perfect example of how a company went above and beyond to kind of cater to those needs, and that is Moss, weirdly enough.
Right.
They had Moss use sign language, American Sign Language, to communicate with the player, and that is fan-fucking-tastic. That's amazing. Even as someone who's not... I mean, I'm a little hard of hearing. It might just be selective hearing, but it's fine. Only works with Paul.
Okay.
But, I'm sorry, did you say something? But still, like, the thought that someone who is, like, very hard of hearing or has no hearing at all can enjoy a game like Moss to that extent, that a company went out of their way to program this character to be able to speak to them, to what is frankly a small demographic of people, is
that is animating
amazing.
Hands.
It's amazing.
Which,
it's beautifully complicated. I mean,
as someone who actually studied sign language.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. Like that is. I mean, we have subtitles and stuff,
Yeah.
so there are things that people do. But this is it's a prime example of somebody going, you know what, we're not just going to sugarcoat this or blow over it. We're going to actually create something that immerses you.
Yeah.
Because this is the language you speak.
And on the flip side, you have games like Spyro the Dragon that didn't have subtitles.
Yeah, which makes no sense.
Which was stupid. That was a bad idea.
Yeah, it's like the easiest thing in the world to do.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Like, go online, every movie, someone's made a subtitle for it themselves.
Yeah.
YouTube allows you to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
you have automated things.
There's automated. Yeah, I was just about to say
like
there's automated things.
Something. Come on.
Anyway.
And there's I know it's a movie and not a video game, but Baby Driver. Apparently, the entire thing has a 4,000 hertz sound in the background, and the only time you hear it is when he takes his headphones off because he has tinnitus and I have tinnitus, and it's sort of like that. That's why I constantly have headphones in or something like that, some sound, so it drowns out the sound of tinnitus. And so in the movie, they added this sound that no one's going to notice until the music cuts out. Anyway, FilmJoy. Go watch a FilmJoy YouTube channel on Baby Driver. It's fantastic. We are going to cut the conversation there. We will definitely be coming back to this because this is something that it is a broader topic than what it seems to be. And that's sort of our bread and butter. That's sort of where
which is the joy of podcasts. Is the joy of having these conversations.
Oh yeah, fantastic. So I added Podbean to the places that you can find us. So if you have a Podbean account, which is free unless you want to get the premium thing, you can go find us on Podbean or Stitcher, iTunes, and I'm working on Slack. Slack is being a little bitch right now. But more importantly, you can find us on Anchor. Anchor is where you want to find us, because
that's where we are anchored.
Yeah, it's our anchor. Then you can also click the donate $1 a month button, and you can give us $1 a month, 99 cents actually, less than $1, 1 penny less than $1. So it's a deal or something. Anyway, you can give us a little bit of money and we can grow and we can become bigger and better and even greater than what we already are. We appreciate every single listener that listens every week or when they can, because whatever, fuck it, it's a podcast. Who cares?
Can we see like the donations on sale for 99 cents?
It's on sale. There it is. That's great. Yeah. Jesus, that's dumb. Anyway.
You were on a roll. I didn't want to interrupt you with the joke.
Do I have to say anything else? Oh, yeah, you can find us on Facebook. I never use Facebook. We have an Instagram, evidently, that Leonard I'm trying to talk into using more often. And most importantly, you can find us on Twitter at the NPC Pod. And we're usually on there. That's usually where we find us. Also, Silvertongue. Thank you, Silvertongue. That's great. So, without any further ado, I'm going to say the one thing that I say every single episode.
All right, bye, guys.
Out. Until next game, everybody. Until next game.
Burp.
Silvertongue Audio.